Hi, in this video we're going to give you a brief overview of all the features and tools that are available in Betmix. We won't go into a whole lot of detail about anything, but just kind of touch the surface and show you what's out there. First place most people would start would be today's races. And today's races is going to show you all the races that are running today or tomorrow. So we'll go ahead and select today's date. You select a racetrack, and then you'd select the race number. So we'll just look at race 1 right here. Let's zoom in and talk a little bit about what a mix is, and this is kind of key to everything. The best way to think about a mix perhaps would be to consider it like a recipe. So in this race you can see is a 6 furlong dirt maiden claiming race. So what you're trying to come up with is a recipe for handicapping that race, a recipe for picking a winner. So just like if you were baking a cake and you were using flour and sugar and eggs. I'm not a baker, so I'm not exactly sure what goes in a cake, but that's the concept here. So look at each one of these factors as an ingredient. So best lifetime speed is an ingredient, average lifetime earnings, pace, pedigree figures, trainer jockey stats. All those things would be considered ingredients in your mix. Now the measurement, if you're going to use 2 eggs or 3 cups of flour, would be the weight or the amount of importance you're assigning to each one of these ingredients or factors. So if you turned on best lifetime speed at 10, and you can do that with the slider, or you can also just type it in. Lifetime earnings at 12, dirt pedigree rating at 26, trainer current year at 13. Now those are just random, just for the sake of example. Now you come down here and you can see that your mix is displayed in this pie chart, and that kind of shows you the importance you've assigned to each factor, how much of each ingredient you're using. Now as you change these factors, you'll see over here that the rankings of these horses change, and also the point values change, and you need to pay attention to the point values. If a horse has a huge advantage in points, then it's probably a strong bet based on your mix. So we'll look at these now. Over here you have the horses. This is their program number over here. Underneath each horse you see some information, medication, equipment change, last race. That means how many days since they last raced. It's highlighted in red if it's over 45, which is considered a layoff. So you can kind of see that at a glance. It shows you their last finish position, what their morning line odds are, and the S and the F stand for speed and finish. If you see a red arrow or a green arrow, the red arrow means that the horse has declined in speed over the last 3 races, and the red arrow under the F means it has declined in finish position. If it were a green arrow, that'd be the improvement. 3 races of improvement in either speed or finish. You can click on a horse's name to get more information about that horse, breeding, the connections, more information about each race that it's run in. And if we have one of those races in our database, you can click it and bring up that previous race. The rankings feature, when you bring that up, it shows you each factor and where the horse is ranked from best to worst in that factor. There's some charts over here that show you more information about that in a graphical format. You can scratch horses by clicking the X. That removes them, and it also recalculates the screen here, and then you can always add them back in. So that's today's races, and that's kind of an overview of what a mix is. So let's say you looked at this mix, you really liked it. You can click Save Mix, you can give it a name, and then it will appear in your saved mixes over here. You can apply that to any other race you encounter. Now let's take a look at historical races. That's basically the same thing as today's races, but what that does is it lets you look at any race that we have in our database. And so you can go back to 2012 and find any race that we have, any date, and you can kind of use this to test your mixes and look deeper into what might have worked. The next tool we'll show you is All Races Report. This is a handy way to look at every race on the card. So we'll go ahead and select today's date again, and again you can, from All Races Report, you can look at any historical date date that we have in our database. We'll pick Gulfstream Park, and you'll notice here that instead of just looking at one race, we're looking at every race. So every race on the card. Now this is handy if you wanted to say, all right, let me find a horse using early pace that has a big advantage. And so you could scroll down and you could see based on the points. Well, this one has it's a 7 point difference here, so that's kind of a big advantage in this race. And the idea here is you could handicap all the races at one time if you're that kind of handicapper, or find certain situations that you might like. You might like horses that have huge advantages in speed last race, or big advantages in pace, or what have you. So that's all races report. Now we'll go to Mix Maker, which is a very popular tool that we have. And what this does is it allows you to find the winners of a race. So if we were to look at today's races again, and we'll select Gulfstream Park. Race 6, I'm looking at it over on another screen. It just finished, and it came in 6-3-2. What you do here is input the winners, or the finish order, first, second, and third. You could also do that by checking the race results, and that would bring up another screen that would show you the actual race results today, historically, whenever. And now you tell it, all right, find me the mix that would have created or would have picked the winner. So we're going to leave that on first place priority. We're going to click Run Mix Maker, and it didn't get it. It got 3 and the 6 on the top. Let's see if we can do it better with the trifecta. And it got 3, 2, 6. So you would have had the trifecta in the top 4 there. Now, if you zoom in over here, you'll see the factors that it used to come up with that. Now, if you think that's a great mix for this particular race type, you could save it and apply that going forward. Now, Mixmaker is really useful if you go through different races, run a couple of different similar races, 6 furlong races on the dirt, 8.5 on the turf, what have you. You can find a lot of really solid mixes and apply them going forward. Race search. Another great feature. This lets you search for a particular race type. So if you've come up with a mix for a particular race type, let's say 8 furlong allowance dirt at Oaklawn Park or what have you, we'll look at we'll say, all right, let's search from January to today at Gulfstream, and we want to find all the turf races that were exactly 1 mile. We go over here, we search, set those sliders to 1 mile, 1 mile. We hit find races. It comes back. You can see that there have been 43 1 mile turf races at Gulfstream Park this year. You can sort them by the type. So these are allowance, optional claimers, claiming, maiden claimer, etc. You can search by age and sex. And if you wanted to handicap one of those races, if it was running today, you just click this link, or if it was something that happened in the past and you wanted to check it out, maybe apply one of your mixes to it, you can do that here as well. So that's a really neat tool, very helpful for finding specific race types. And again, if you have a fantastic mix for a particular race type and you want to see if that's running today, you could just change the date range to today's races, and then it'll bring up every race that's running today that meets those conditions. So you would leave the track blank and just search on the date and the race type. The next tool we'll take a look at is the mix library. This is where we have added mixes, users have added mixes. Anybody can add a mix here or take a mix. So if I was looking here, I can just click the search mix library without any of the criteria in place here, and it comes back and tells me there's 66 mixes out here that I could use. If I like the looks of one of these mixes, I just hit save to my mix, and then it would be in my drop down for use in any track that I wanted to handicap. Now we'll look at race results. That's our newest feature. It's going to be improved in the next couple of days with more data. Right now we're looking at Gulfstream Park for the entire month of for the entire year from January 1st forward, and every other racetrack from February 1st forward. But this video will probably be updated, but I can tell you within the next week or so we'll have data for the last couple of years here in the results. Now this is this is great. What you do here, this report looks similar to the all races report, but in the upper right hand corner you see results. So let's say you have a saved mix And again, we're looking at all tracks on this day. So let's go Gulfstream Park turf mile. Now I would go down and find the turf races and see how they did. You know, the 10th race down here was 8 furlongs turf mile. So my turf mile mix ended up picking a $17 winner in the 10th race at Gulfstream Park. Now you can hit reset up here, and this clears the current mix and clears all your speed or all your factors. And as you turn on any particular factor, you can see how that would have resulted in picking winners or losers. So I've just turned on best lifetime speed. Now I can see the results have updated up here. This is showing you a $2 win bet on your top ranked horse in every race, a $2 place bet on the top ranked horse, $2 show bet on the top ranked horse, and a $1 exacta box with your top 3, $1 trifecta box with your top 4. So had I done that, had I said, all right, no matter what, I'm going to bet the top ranked horse with best lifetime speed in every race today at Gulfstream Park, I would have hit 3 winners. I would have bet 20. I would have had a return of $34 for a profit of 14. I would have gotten beat pretty badly on the trifectas and the exactas. But as you add in other factors, you can see these results update automatically. So you can go through here and you can say, all right, I'm gonna find something. You can just mix it up, turning on things and turning off things, and see how that impacts it. So as it is right now, I have best lifetime speed on, average earnings, today's distance, and a little bit of last late pace. Using that particular mix on every race that day at Gulfstream Park, I would have had a profit on win, place, show, and exactas. So this is a very useful tool. Test your mixes, create mixes, see how you would have done, see how a slight change in your recipe or your mix can impact your overall results. So this particular mix right now we're looking at, well, we're up 1860 on win bets. Well, what if we turned on last E1 pace or early pace? Didn't have much of an impact. Oh, the more you add, the bigger it does. So let's turn on something else. Let's turn on trainer current meet. Turn that on up. Now we're losing. So pay attention to this. I mean, just like a cake, again, using that analogy, just because it's the right ingredient, if you're not using the right amount, it can really mess up the recipe. Just because you need eggs and sugar and flour doesn't mean you need to put 22 eggs in your cake recipe. That would probably mess it up, just the same way as adding too much of a particular factor here can change things. So that's a great tool. We also have a whole tutorial section that you can look at for more detailed information on any one of these features. In a nutshell, that's Betmix. We can dig a lot deeper in other videos, but that should let you know what's available and how to get started. Appreciate your time. Best of luck.